I own a Nissan, and I thought, oh, what kind of content can I do on the Navara nowadays? Like, I've done a lot to it. There's not much that goes wrong with it. I can show you how to do this, how to do that, you know, that kind of content, but it gets a little bit repetitive. I know this is a four-wheel drive channel, but I did decide to buy a Toyota, and before everybody goes crazy, oh, it's not this, it's not that, I want to do this, and I want to do this so I can show you guys can do it too. Now, the future plans for this car, I don't know what it is, okay? But hopefully this is going to be a journey where I can document everything that goes on with this car, show you the progress, and show you how reliable these cars can be. Now, without further ado, let me show you the vehicle in question. This is a Lexus IS200, also known as a Toyota Altezza. Now, this is an automatic 1GE 6-cylinder petrol rear-wheel drive. Now, before you four-wheel drive enthusiasts click off the video, I just want to say fast cars or fun cars are a hobby of mine. I've had a lot of cars in my time, right? When I started to drive and started to learn about cars, I had a Ford Focus ST, I've had a Lancer, I've had a Honda Civics, all those kind of cars. I've never had a rear-wheel drive sedan. And it's always been on my bucket list to get a rear-wheel drive sedan. Not for the obvious reasons, but I've just never had one, okay? This car is going to be a daily driver because my four-wheel drive is precious to me and I don't want to put unnecessary kilometers onto it. So you might have already seen a couple of the defects on this vehicle. I'm going to go through the whole thing from start to finish, and particularly what it needs for a roadworthy certificate and all the things we need to fix for a roadworthy certificate. I literally just bought the car home, but before we go on and start this crazy series, and hopefully you join along, subscribe, like the video of turning this into a beast. First of all, let's lay out the costs, okay? Because I'm gonna be very open and honest on how much money goes into this and how much money doesn't go into this, because I'm not gonna pour a lot of money into it. I'm just gonna do, well, at the start anyway, I'm just gonna put a little bit just to get it up and running, and then if I want, I could flip it. You know what I mean? There's always options as well. But I want your input on ideas, on fixes, on things to do, etc. But let's start off with the basics. I purchased the car without a roadworthy, without registration for 900 Australian dollars. And I think that equates to about 600 USD or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that's what I paid for the entire car, which is pretty cheap. And you might be thinking, well, what the hell is wrong with it? We'll get into that in a second, but I did just pick it up and drive it all the way to where I'm living at. And that was about half an hour drive, and it didn't seem to overheat. So that's perfect. That's really good news for us. Another purchase that I had to do was the vehicle permit, which you need to drive around unregistered vehicles to and from it getting repaired or to and from roadworthy certificates. Battery. That's not roadworthy. Luckily, I have the original one here. Battery clamp. We may need to buy some new terminals for this vehicle as well. Simply because they look absolutely shot. Now you want to be careful because this is positive right here, and if you go fucking striking the positive, say sayonara to a fusible link or something. So be very careful tightening these down. It may look stupid how I'm doing it. If you want to be super careful, you should probably blank off these. But I might replace these terminals anyway. Try and keep that on there. We can tighten down this battery bracket now without crying about it. Today's video is obviously just an introduction to the car. In the next episode, I'm going to be going through the whole thing step by step in terms of what it's going to need for passing a roadworthy certificate. We'll take the tires off, we'll have a look at the tires, we'll have a look at the brakes, We'll have a look at the control arms, the bushes, the shocks, everything that it might need to pass a roadworthy. Doesn't mean some of the items are not going to get replaced in the future. It just means we need to get this car to a stage where it's roadworthy good enough, pretty much, so we can get it registered and so that I can start daily driving it. And next episode's plans. This episode, let's just go through a quick overview, a quick look at the quality of the car. All right, one of the first things I noticed about the car is obviously the paint work is absolutely shocking. It's bubbling on the roof, it's bubbling on the tailgate, it's bubbling on the guards, it's bubbling on, it's got sun fade on really badly on the bonnet. These things are not roadworthy unless there's massive like damage and dents and stuff. By the way, this car has not been recorded as a repairable write-off or a stolen vehicle or anything like that. I did my PPSR checks, so make sure you do that if you're in Victoria. The biggest problem with this vehicle is the sunroof, okay? So this is the sunroof in question. I've duct taped it because it has a massive leak. The entire rubber around the side is completely gone. It physically moves up and down, which should not happen. Now this is a $200, $300 fix to get a wrecker's Lexus IS200 replacement, a second-hand replacement, which should fix the issue. Obviously, this is a roadworthy item because water leaks in. So I'm pretty sure it is anyway. It needs to be fixed, otherwise I can't drive it in the rain. So this is a problem. The sealant along here is worrying, but I believe they've done that to try and find out the leak, where the leak is. Now, obviously the leak is from the sunroof. So you can see all along here, it's just the seal is just absolutely gone, okay? And when I press up and down, you can see the movement. So that's obviously where the big leak's coming from. That is the biggest problem with this vehicle. The rest of it is not so bad, but that's definitely the biggest issue with this vehicle. I've taped it up now. I've already gotten a quote, which I'm going to pick up tomorrow for a new sunroof. We knew that was going to be a problem. And I accepted that I needed a new sunroof. Now, the issue with it leaking is how much has it been in the rain letting it leak. When I first drove the car, it was bucketing down with rain, and I'm worried about mold and rust inside the vehicle. He said it had only been outside for a month, which is enough time for mold and bacteria to grow. So this is something we need to investigate, and we will be investigating by pulling the entire carpet out, okay? I want to do that for a couple of reasons. The main reason why we want to pull the carpet out is so that we can actually discover what Christmas presents we've got underneath this carpet. But the second reason is I want to generally check the entire underneath the car, inside the car, the seats. Now the interior is very clean for its age. This is a 99 model, and it's one of the first generations, and it's very, very clean and well maintained. Doesn't smell, doesn't really rust. Oh, doesn't smell, I don't know about the rust. So I want to generally check, and maybe we'll do some sound deadener or something at some point. Again, we want to see generally what damage the sunroof has caused. So if we're looking at the interior of the vehicle, there's just some paperwork comes in there. But yeah, this is obviously the interior of the vehicle. Very clean, right? The SIG has not been used, or it's been cleaned out. You know, there's nothing in there, that's fine. The SIG lighter is a little bit dodgy. We might have to repair that. Overall though, it does look clean. Can't tell what this is. I think this says 335,000. This does have 330,000. So I reckon it's just been serviced. We'll of course be doing all the servicing and everything like that. The glove box is just a glove box. There's nothing really in there. I've never been in an Lexus or anything, so I don't really know all the ins and outs. There's two cup holders here. There's another section here, and a rear section in there. I'm sure you guys know about IS200s if you do like IS200s. Obviously we've got these fold up mirrors. Obviously the sunroof doesn't work, light works, this works. We might have to just clean this edge. I don't know if that's a roadworthy item. We'll check that all in the next episode. But generally, dude, this is a clean car. A lot of the issues with buying old cars is the seats are caved in here, are ripped here, etc. These are a roadworthy item, but these seats look in good condition. We might have to give them a bit of a clean. This seat belt doesn't retract the best, which obviously is a roadworthy item. I'll try and show you a trick and see if we can fix that. Original Lexus carpet floor mats, which as you can see here, it's soaked here. Yep, so we are going to have to lift that up. I'm actually going to take this floor mat out right now, because this does not need to be in there anymore. That needs to get thrown out. But generally, like, it's not bad, it's just... yeah, there's a lot there. So, I wonder how this comes off. So, you know what? I'll look at that in a sec, but let me... all the windows working, which is quite surprising actually, considering. I'm opening up all the windows to try and let the car, you know, ventilate a little bit. In the rear, we don't really have any issues again. Seat belts seem to be all good in the rear. Interesting little bag. I think that might be like a special Lexus thing, not sure. Again, these floor mats can go because they are disgusting. You can see, yep, we need to rip up that rear carpet, okay? Let's go ahead and open the back and then have a look around. So, at the rear, this is slightly been hit, I think, maybe. In the rear, at some point in its life. I don't think this is a roadworthy item. We can try and probably fix up this gap and see what lies beyond us. But the tail lights look okay. They're all working, all the lights working. A little bit of chipping damage here. We can see again, a bit of sunroof damage. There's no cracks in the rear glass at all, which is good. Got the Lexus badge, the IS200, the eye is missing, so we'll replace that. In the boot section, this comes up very nicely. I think there's supposed to be, there is a light in here, but it's pretty bad. Nothing in there. Medical pack. A flat tire, which is obviously not good. And it's not secure, which is another issue, a bit of a trim piece there. But we've got all the stuff for it by the looks of it. Warning triangle, obviously goes in there somewhere. Jack in here, which jack needs to be secure, so we need to figure that out. Tire needs to be secure, need to figure that out, or completely remove the tire, because you don't actually need a spare tire for roadworthy. But if you've got it in the vehicle, it needs to be tied down, it needs to be secure. So on this side, I'll close the bonnet for now. A little bit more paint fade on this rear guard. Remember, we're not really too bothered about the paint work on this vehicle. It is pretty bad. Bubbling all up here, bubbling. Fuel cap has got a slight issue. I don't really know what's going on with this fuel cap. We might just see if we can get a replacement or try and bend it so it's not completely mashed in. I don't know what the go is with that. This quarter panel looks okay. Headlights look okay. There's no water ingress, but we might polish them up anyway. There's a bit of cracking in there, but I think that'll be fine. Back door section seems okay again. One of the roadworthy items that I got done for my Civic is these check straps. Have to be secure. I'll show you the driver's side is not that secure. A little bit of rust on this rear door, but that's not too bad actually. Tires are all going to get replaced, but yeah, not a big issue there. Passenger side is a lot better than the other side. But yeah, you see these These check straps here, they're no good really. So we might order a couple of these pins and see how we go there. But yeah, the door card looks all right. Not really anything too damaged there. Not really any rust spots around inside, which is nice. Not really anything too bad on these little quarter panels. You can get done for these seals if they're torn, so we'll go over that in the next video. This seatbelt is similar, so, and you might get done because that's frayed. You can tell here that's frayed, so it might need 2 new front seat belts, but we'll get to that path when we cross it. Again, this is the look at the, yeah, I shouldn't do that. A bit more here. We're going to replace the wipers, so don't worry about the wipers. Side light needs a cover, I know about that one. And then this one here, I'm hoping we can bash this out enough so it looks a little bit better than that. All wheel nuts on them all, they are a little bit shit. I think it needs front brakes as well. We've got obviously a headlight which needs to be polished. I'll do that in the next video. Front bumper, which is okay as long as the lights work. I don't think it's roadworthy item that these are all scuffed and stuff, purely cosmetic. This we might have to try and bash to the best of our ability. In terms of the front, the rest of the front, there's a few things like we just need to find a few clips for the front grille. This one will polish as well. That'll come up nice. In terms of the engine bay, there is a few items on here that we are going to want to address. The first one, which we already did address, which was the battery clamp and secure. We might replace these clamp terminals as well. We probably need to fix that. In terms of the rest, it's not too bad. So in terms of the actual engine stuff, I'm going to chuck a new battery, new water pump, although it does look kind of new, that water pump. But all new belts. I'll probably chuck new timing kit on it as well, just to be sure. Engine mounts are something that do happen on these cars, but I think it's okay in this circumstance. We might need to give the manifold a new gasket and check for cracks there. I'll probably do a rocket cover gasket because that does look like it's slightly. So yeah, we got the power steering lower pump. I think it's leaking a little bit of fluid just to where it connects. Maybe you have to replace some washers there. The fluid does not look great at all. We'll replace that. In terms of the radiator, don't think it's leaking any coolant, which is good news for us. There's a few little, maybe a manifold leak or something in between there. I'm going to dig deeper in the next video. Another leak is the aircon down there to the right. That just might be a case of cleaning up and customer to monitor. But that looks all right, just from the visual inspection. So yeah, that's going to be it for the first episode of the Lexus build series. Again, I know this is a four-wheel drive channel, but this is a project and I want to show the process of everything that I do to this car. And so, you know, it can give a little bit of inspiration, but to show you how easy it is to bring a car back to a good life. This can have a lot of potential. This drivetrain, well, not the drivetrain so much, but the chassis and the way it handles around corners is a great base for drifting. This is a potential avenue that I might want to take it down. It does have 330,000 kilometers. So the engine might be a little bit tired. But yeah, this is a Lexus IS200. And I hope you did enjoy. Leave a like, comment down below what you think I should do to the vehicle. And yeah, see you later. Peace.